Back in 2021, I made my first major investment into the cryptocurrency space. And can you guess the number? $700. My brother had lost his life savings gambling in crypto. And I decided, as someone that was going to school for economics, that I too would try to aid him. And so for his birthday, I gave him $700 worth of these little crypto creatures called Axes. And I was able to turn that into mid five figures, pay back his life savings, and get him on the right way forward. Now, of course, I decided to quit my job because I was young and reckless. Now, for a lot of people, you would say I was dumb, and maybe I was a little bit dumb, but it led me to the renaissance that I have right now. I am in my best state that I've probably ever been in. And I want to, in this video, talk about the crypto cycle as someone that has, quote unquote, made it to a point where I don't need to worry about the number in my bank account. I have learned a lot on the crypto space, and I've advised countless companies at this point on their marketing endeavors. I know how these narratives work, and I want to tell you in this video exactly how they work and how you, as someone that's probably still getting into the crypto industry, can fully tap into this stuff. But before I do, I want to go ahead and just quickly give more context on what in the world I've done in the crypto space. In 2022, there was a massive collapse, and this was shortly after I had made my money in Axie Infinity. A massive collapse in the crypto industry happened. And I saw that as an opportunity. It was an absolutely terrible time for the markets. The Terra Luna collapse had happened. It was one of the biggest cryptocurrencies out there with one of the biggest stable coins out there, UST. That thing had practically gone to zero overnight. And me, seeing myself as someone that tapped into markets, understood that meme coins were an up and coming thing. And so what we had established on the cryptocurrency that would be called Terra Luna and then would be later called Terra Luna Classic was that we could go ahead and shift this burn narrative in the sense that we're going to burn ourselves back to all-time highs. And that meme coin narrative propelled a cryptocurrency that was at $400 million into over $8 billion during a time where a historic bear market was happening and nobody was making money in crypto. It was one of my biggest wins, and I was able to validate and actually aid the blockchain in that mission forward. Of course, long term, that trade didn't end up working out. But luckily for me, you understand the science, you understand when it's time to let go. And I went ahead and left into crypto gaming, in which crypto gaming ended up having a massive run in 2023, 2024 early on. And now in 2025, I was able to tap into the Avalanche meme coin market, where I made over $100,000 in a single month, and the HBAR meme coin market, which I turned $20,000 into what, like, was it like $40,000 before I cashed it out. Now, with all this context in, what in the world is going on right now and what narratives are tapping into? I think crypto's still worth it, 100%, but I think the game has changed. I don't think you can apply the same blanket logic that we had back in 21 in the 25 bull market. That is clear as day at this point. We all know that things have changed and things are feeling very weird. If you're someone that feels a little bit icky about the crypto markets, you're not alone. I feel that way pretty much every single day. And that's why, as you've seen me explain my context on how I made money in crypto, it's not like I do trades every single day. I don't do 80 trades a day or 8 trades on some Axiom platform. I am very selective on when the narrative fits. Because if you don't have the perfect narrative, you're not going to make money. And if I look at the crypto markets right now, I just don't see right now a perfect narrative to size in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on a position. I made a video saying that I was putting $100,000 into HBAR. HBAR is a cryptocurrency that I cover on the channel quite often. It's something that I have a long-term thesis on. I got into it at 4 to 5 cents. I continue to dollar cost average up because I believe this position will be worth significantly more in the future. Now, why do I think this position is poised for great gains? Well, there's this thing called the law of leadership. And so the law of leadership states that when an asset or when something tends to lead a market, it tends to lead it for pretty much the rest of time. The biggest crypto exchanges have continued to be the biggest crypto exchanges. The biggest DeFi apps continue to be the biggest DeFi apps. And as we've seen with futures on DeFi, Hyperliquid, despite having crazy competitors like Aster's Binance-backed exchange, I mean, they're still losing against Hyperliquid. And that's because the leader continues to be the leader. And that's why majors this cycle have actually been doing really well. Majors are the top cryptocurrencies that have shown themselves out to be a stable asset that continues to outperform the market. And no, some of these assets aren't doing the best in the world, and they're not doing great relative to where Bitcoin is right now. But they are some of the assets that have been backed by some of the biggest companies in the world. In HBAR's case, it was Fortune 500 companies. And, XRP just got SBI Holdings that's throwing $200 million into an XRP treasury company, right? There's these big announcements that are propelling further liquidity. They're bringing more money into these crypto exchanges. These are the long-term narratives that if you're buying spot, you want to see. If we're buying short term, we don't really care about any of this because realistically, all we care about is that this thing is interesting, that it's flashy, that it's interesting. With gaming at the time, pretty much everything was very interesting because everybody was interested in gaming and everything mooned as a result. You don't need to overcomplicate it. People overcomplicate the crypto markets every single day. People think that magically as a result of having 5 years now of experience in the crypto markets, that I just know more than you. And yeah, I probably do know quite a bit more to some degree, but there's this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where you just think you're a genius in the beginning until you get humbled, and then eventually you kind of like level out. I feel like I've kind of finally gone through this curve, and what I've learned through this curve is that I need to be a lot more patient. I need to stop going full degen into stuff. These lower market cap coins are just not going to make me the money that I think they are. I would be much better off, for example, and this is a shameless plug here, we have Weex, which is a crypto exchange. You'd be much better off just going onto this thing, going ahead and buying spot or buying a futures position at a very low leverage on Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP, these bigger assets, and then going off to the sunset. My brother reached out to me recently and he asked me, what in the world should I do? Should I be throwing all my money into crypto? Because I made him money in crypto. I made him money in late 2024. I turned his money. AVAX was at $30, told him to sell $50, and now this coin's at $19. Had he held, he'd be down a lot of money, but I managed to make him a profit. And so from his eyes, it's time to throw more money into the market because Jesus has made me money. But the truth is, and what I told him was, if you're going to throw money into the market, just throw it into Bitcoin. Throw it into Bitcoin. Because if you don't know better, stop trying to pretend that you know better. You don't know better. If you don't know something, you don't understand something, there's no reason to throw money into something. And if you think you understand, you probably don't. The most humble way of being a crypto trader is just understanding that you don't know everything and you never will know everything. No matter how much time you put into researching, you just will never know the full picture of how an investment can play out. So we want to stack the odds in our favor. And we did exactly that. I am actually a person that does a bit of a contrarian point of view when it comes to investing, and it's made me a ton of money. It was, and this is just some context to earlier this year, when I made over $100,000 on AVAX meme coins. The reason was that I saw an influx of volume coming into Avalanche. And so pretty much every coin was running. All of the cards were stacked in my favor. You could not go wrong putting money into AVAX meme coins because literally everything was running. For the people that have been asking me if an alt season has happened, it does. It's already a thing. It's already happened. Alt season's already here. It's just segmented into different narratives. Sometimes AI is having an alt season. It's going up hundreds of percent while the rest of the market's doing nothing. And then gaming has an alt season and everything goes absolutely parabolic. Avalanche meme coins had an alt season where every single AVAX meme coin was going to the moon. And then HBAR meme coins had the same exact thing where they had an altcoin season where all these things were going from like hundreds of thousands to tens of millions. So you want to position yourself to be a part of the market in the hyper speculative side when it's abundantly obvious that tons of capital is flowing into it. You want to stack into winners. We don't want to try to predict what's going to win in the future. We want to be allocated to things that we already know are going to win. A great example, and I'll just keep doing this because might as well, right? HBAR's market cap is higher than it was last all-time high in 2021. This means that this cryptocurrency right now, as it speaks, is larger than it was back in 2021. Not a lot of cryptos are doing the same exact thing, and XRP is another one. Solana was a big winner. BNB was a big winner. But not a lot of cryptocurrencies ended up actually making highs. If I look at like Arbitrum, for example, and go to the alt chart, you can see it's definitely not doing as good as it was back when it launched. So we want to find these winners and stack into winners over time. We don't want to just go all in. If you go all in on crypto at once, you're going to lose your money, you're going to get scared, and you're never going to come back. So you want to position yourself in a way where you're responsible, you get into the markets, you allocate just a small portion of your capital into the hyper speculative stuff, And I don't care if you only have $200 and you can only throw $2 into hyper speculative plays. You do what you got to do to make more money. Come into the crypto industry, stack your crypto over time, and learn, because we're not geniuses. None of us are geniuses. The one thing that I've learned over all this time is the more active income you have, the more mental fortitude you have. It's a big reason that I started this channel and started working with crypto brands, because I was able to use the knowledge on this crypto YouTube channel to be able to actually advise some of these marketing companies in Web3. And I was able to make enough stable income to not have to worry about my crypto bags. I don't need to sell all my crypto bags to pay my rent because I have that stable income on the side. So if you're going all in and just expecting to just have it click, you're going to be too emotional and you're going to lose. I promise you that. You will lose if you try to go all in on this game and you just think that magically, you know, I took the risk, so I'm going all in on this. I'm definitely going to do it right. Maybe you did it right when you didn't have to pay your rent with the profit that you were making, but the second that you do, it's a heck of a lot more difficult to actually justify being all in on this game, because you're just not going to make money. It's not going to be a good thing at all. Another question that I get often is it a good time right now to get into meme coins or trade futures? I would say futures, yeah. I think futures make sense. Maybe don't go high leverage, kind of just chill on the leverage. I have tons of buddies that do leverage. There was a huge wipeout, about $19 billion on liquidations, a huge reset on the markets. This is like the perfect time to be in this stuff. And meme coins, I would say probably not, because meme coins haven't been hot for some time. You want to be on the hot narrative. So the hot narrative right now is majors and ETFs. ETFs at the end of this year are all but guaranteed. So stacking into coins that are going to get ETFs, these are the coins that are going to get liquidity and are actually going to move up. If we think about why this cycle in the first place happened, it was largely due to regulatory clarity and these US equity companies buying up Bitcoin and these other majors. Really, that's the only reason that we had this bull run in the first place. Of course, people can argue gold and they can argue the M2 money supply increase. You can argue a bunch of different things in the 4-year super cycle. But for me, from the way I take it, I just see more liquidity coming into the markets because of these big digital asset treasury companies that are buying billions of dollars worth of crypto. For Bitcoin, for example, I mean, that's what? $45 billion in Michael Saylor's pocket right now with MicroStrategy. That's a lot of money, a heck of a lot of money. And this is what's been propelling the market upward. So I want to position myself in companies or crypto projects that are going to get this influx of capital, because it's happening. I mean, XRP is getting $1 billion fund. A ton of these guys are raising. I think AVAX is getting one too. They're all getting these funds because they're getting ETFs. The second these ETFs come online, it's going to add more liquidity over time, which adds more stability. The world where Bitcoin just goes down 50% in a day is dead. It is dead. And that means that these 50% up days aren't just magically going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take time for the markets to move up. This isn't easy mode anymore. The only easy mode that there is buying Bitcoin and holding it, or buying majors and holding it. That's the only easy mode. If you're trying to catch narratives, you need to catch them when they're hot and tap into them while they're hot. You don't want to become a community member. The one warning I want to give you is do not become a community member. The moment that you're so obsessed with a coin that you have it on your desk, that's when you want to go ahead and sell it. Because if you're too obsessed with the cryptocurrency, you're going to become emotional and you're going to lose money. So this is some advice. Someone that's made money in crypto and is able to have the life that I have right now. I'm eternally blessed and honestly very grateful for everybody that's watched my videos and has supported me over the years. If it weren't for you guys, I highly doubt I would have had the mental fortitude to carry out the trades that I've had, to gain the experience, to meet the people in Web3. If you have been interested in making content in Web3, I feel like now is an incredible time to get into it. I hope that one day a creator will come, and it'll come from this channel because they'll be motivated to actually get into the crypto space. And we'll have a fine chat. So thank you all for watching this video. Stay classy, and that is all.